Listen. Are we ready?
No.
Wow. Wow. Welcome to One Topic, where we try to stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
And my name is Greg Russ.
Wow, we did it.
Matt, we made it. We got the show started, so let's end it.
All right.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate and review us on the iTunes, and thanks. Take care.
Catch our podcast wherever podcasts are good. All right, so this is your week, Greg. What are we talking about?
I don't really know what we're talking about. Meaning I don't know what I would label the topic for this week. I had the idea because I know that you keep notebooks around, and now that everyone's got their phone with the note app in it, you take notes throughout life. And I've got the same thing. I've got notebooks where I've just jotted down ideas. At the time, I thought, they were brilliant, insightful ideas, and you read through and you say, what the hell was I thinking? This is embarrassing. If I died right now and someone saw this, they'd say, wow, that guy was my friend? How? What a stupid thing he wrote there. But I wanted to look through some of these things just because I think it's an interesting topic.
Okay.
So in terms of presenting the show, I told you when I was pitching it, I said notes. But it's not really notes. Ideas? It's not all ideas.
It's not all ideas.
So I don't know what we could call this show's topic. There's a premise.
Yeah. Notebooks?
Yeah, but, then maybe people are expecting reviews of notebooks. The school year is coming to an end, but it's never too early to buy your students the latest in mead.
Yeah, do you like the spiral bound, or do you like the weird gummy end ones, or the one with the gummy end on the top?
See? So someone could be expecting that, and then they don't get that at all. Like, it's just these stupid thoughts.
If we lose a couple listeners because we disappoint them we're not reviewing notebooks here. We're talking about maybe our history of writing notes, what kind of notes we write down, what kind of things. I don't know how people don't make lists. I make a ton of lists.
Shopping lists.
Not just shopping lists,
cleaning
but
lists, to-do
lists. Yes, anything I think of, even if it's needs to be done today or, in 2 months, I'll write it down because it just helps me remember. And if I don't do that, it's just slips away.
Where are you writing the lists?
Sometimes it's on my phone as a running long-term to-do list, but a lot of times it's just a daily thing. When I sit down in front of the computer before the show starts, I'll think about my day and all the things that I want to do when the show's over so that I can have a focused mind after the show. Because if I don't do that, then I just go downstairs and I have lunch, and then I think, I get to watch something on Bravo because something was on last night, and so I'll watch that, and then I'll think, I'll think about what I need to do after I watch this TV show. And then I just kind of I just sort of wander. And then all of a sudden it's time to pick up the kids and I haven't really done anything.
So it keeps you on track. But the show's not about lists necessarily. Lists can fall into this. It doesn't matter what the topic actually is. What we're going to do is just look through all these different means and notes. And the phone, I do have notes in here, which I find to be somewhat disappointing these days. It was something nice about carrying a notebook around with a pen and writing the thoughts in your head. But, it's the modern age, whatever.
For me, physically writing it down makes it stick more than if I put it in my phone. If I put it in my phone, it's there for me to go back and look at, but I'm going to remember to do the thing I wrote down if I actually wrote it down.
Because using the phone has become a very passive thing at this point.
Yeah.
You're just, you're writing a text, and yes, you're trying to express yourself, maybe, to some degree, even if it's the simple thing that you're trying to relay to another person. It doesn't matter. You're not paying too much attention to it. You're doing something else at the same time, like in your case, driving. I always think it's insane. I know you use voice to text.
Yeah, I do.
But it's still strange to me that so if you get the typo at that point, it doesn't bother you. That's why I couldn't use voice to text if I drove, because I would see the typo and I'd want to fix it.
Yeah, it is hard. A lot of times I just send it and don't look through it, because then I'll find the typo and it will bother me. So I just send it.
Well, that's safer thing to do. I'm glad
Yeah.
you're not editing your own text while you're driving. But
But I am reading a text sometimes while driving.
to your point, writing it down, it's a more engaging process, so you'll remember your list more. But there's no real way to jump into this other than just to do it, right?
I have a question. How about,
Okay.
I'll phrase it this. I'll sort of, we'll put it in a context. When you were young, did you keep like a journal, a diary, a notebook? Did
No,
you keep this type of like writing things down like you do now?
No. Well, the only journal I kept was one we had to keep in first grade, and it's got some really strange stuff in it, which I've shared before, I think, on the radio show with Eric. That was the only time I actually wrote. It got to be later in life when I was more interested in writing, let's say, so that putting ideas down that could possibly become subject matter or a premise or something else for writing a larger piece, like a short story. Or who knows, a blog. I never wanted to blog.
Yeah.
I never had.
I liked that idea, but I'm not a great writer, I don't think.
But you've been documenting a lot of your life, so you kept a journal. This is just to look. I mean, at the time, why do people journal? Just to look back on it later on in life and say, hey, wow, here's the life I lived?
I mean, maybe you do. Personally, at the time, so I have, my first thing that I have is a journal from 1995. I think it goes back to 94. Like I might have added something from, I don't know exactly, but it starts, almost.
There's missing pages.
No. Well, the first entry is March 17th, 1995. So it was almost however many years ago.
Well, it's March 25th today as we record this, 2019. Do you have a March 25th entry there? That's one thing I did like to do anytime I had to write a journal that was dated, is to look back for the exact date that it was. You know, today being March 25th, you don't have a March 25th. Wow. Autumn.
Yeah, I have one from the 22nd.
1995.
1995. It's so dumb.
Just read it. This is what this show is. There's no real purpose other than to look back on some of these things.
Oh my God. Well, it starts, well, I've made another poem. How old am I in 95?
Well, you were born in
2,
82.
3, 4, 5. So
and you're
13.
You're born in June.
Yeah. So I'm 13, right? Or maybe 12.
I'm going to let you do the math. It's very simple math.
I did it. I was born in 82. In 92, I'm 10.
And you're counting on your fingers to get up
Yes,
to
I have
95. So you add the 3, but you're not quite 13 yet because your birthday's in June.
Right. So I think I'm 12.
You're 12, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
I just
All right.
wanted to watch that play out.
So I am very melodramatic during this time. And I think that that's why I wanted to keep the journal, was because maybe I felt like what I felt was very important. And now I look back at it and see how unimportant and sort of, melodramatic it was.
Well,
so
everyone feels that way. Still to this day, people feel like the stuff
Yeah.
they have to put out there is very important. It's no different than someone who is still blogging at this point about their life. If you can make it interesting, sure. If you're going to present it. This is for you, though. Like this different type of journaling, which I'm sure would blow some people's minds. Like, what? It wasn't for public consumption?
Yeah, interesting. Before it was, because what are I mean, I was trying to make it like a diary, like Dear Diary, you know?
But it's for you at that point.
It really might have just come from seeing it on TV, you know, like Clarissa maybe had a diary. And so I wanted to have that, you know?
Yeah, so something, it's, okay.
It seemed like a teenage thing to do.
It's a lot of work, though. So if that's the reason to do it, I feel like a lot of people would fall off pretty quickly. Like, okay, that's not as glamorous as that TV show makes it because I'm not in a TV show. Little did you know, though, as you wrote this, it would be presented for public consumption. How many years down the line, Autumn? How many years since 1995?
All
right,
13.
No, since 1995? Come on.
From 95.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
It doesn't matter. Read
16,
the
17, 18, 19, 24. Listen, I've never been great with math.
public
I like
consumption.
math, but I've never been good with math concepts.
Here-
So I have trouble with simple math.
Well, here it is, out for the public. So many years later, March 22nd, 1995.
Yes. It says, well, I've made another poem. It's a very small poem, though. And here it is. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I know, shut up. Warm and safe throughout the night, so lock the dreams, they give me fright. And then I wrote, or. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Warm and safe throughout the night, so please don't let the bed bugs bite. On the next page,
great.
this is what I wrote this down.
Great
underneath
original
it.
content there.
Yeah, I know. On the next, it says underneath this poem, it says, on the next page, I'm going to write Yoko Ono, John's widowed wife, a letter. I'm going to enclose the poem on the page before this one. So there's a poem here.
For Yoko.
Yeah.
Now, you never actually wrote this and mailed it to Yoko.
Oh, God. It's called I Remember. That day in December, I remember. Though I wasn't alive, I still felt your strive. The day was a blur that I don't remember. That day in December, I remember. I want to think back in the days of your liquor, in the smokes and your pot, and the slur of your winter.
Liquor
day
in
in-
winter.
The day in December, I remember. There should be a cure for the sadness I prefer. That day in December, I remember. The monster with his cruelty cut off your life and your misery to start our deadness, although we're alive. That is what I was going to send to Yoko Ono that I thought was so good.
Would have been a treasured piece. I'm sure she'd still reference it in interviews today.
Hi, my name is Autumn. Yes, the season. I am 12 years old.
So hold on, this is, the poem was for Yoko, but this is also the letter
This
that
is-
would be included.
accompany the poem.
Okay.
I first became a fan by watching A Hard Day's Night and Help. At first, I didn't like the music when they made their transition from mop tops to hippies and their drug scene. But now that's all I ever listened to. I didn't know John was the one that passed. I was even planning to write him a letter. When I found out, I cried off and on for at least a day and a half. Even now, I'll cry when I hear All You Need Is Love. A lot of people think I'm a big freak for liking such an old band, but I don't care what other people think. They're just there, THERE, just too uptight about caring what other people think of them. Anyway, I don't mean to show off, but I wrote a poem for you. It's about John, but I'm working on one for you. I'm afraid the poem is rather depressing, but it's from my heart. It's called I Remember. This is the stuff I thought was important.
I don't mean to show off. Oh, honey, that wasn't showing off.
Oh, God. So bad.
So you never actually sent that to
It says,
to
at the
Yoko.
end, it says, see, it's depressing. Sorry, I'm insecure about my poems. Well, ... I've nothing more to say, but I'm planning to send you a card or a present for John and Sean. I think that really cool that they were born on the same day. I'm sorry, but I don't know when your birthday is. If you send me your birth date and things you would like, I would definitely send it to you.
I mean, it's sweet. You're a kid.
I've enclosed a picture and a phone number. By the way, I live in Georgia, just so you know about the time zones.
There's no she was living in New York.
I don't know.
There's no difference in the time zone. Hey, in case you want to call, you should factor in the difference in time. Don't call too late. My dad won't let me talk on the phone after 7 p.m. So if you call,
Yoko Ono is going to send a 12-year-old stuff she wants for her birthday.
no exceptions. Yoko calls after 7, and your dad answers, nope. Sorry, Yoko.
But it is Yoko Ono.
I've had to set some ground rules here with my daughter, and I said no phone calls after 7, and I can't let, if I make the exception for you, where does
Yep.
it stop?
Yep, it's a slippery slope, Yoko. Have a nice day.
Where does
Clink.
it end? When Daryl Hall calls, does he get to talk after 7 p.m.?
God.
That's a nice thing, though. Look, you look back on these things, and you're a kid at that point. Yeah, it's somewhat embarrassing, but you had an interest, and you wrote a letter. I wish you had sent the letter, and it really would have been great if she did respond and then said, "Send your gifts here." That she every
P.O.
year
box.
you sent her a birthday gift every single year. No, I think that's the thing that I've got from just a few years ago. I look at some of these things, and I'm highly embarrassed by them. In this notebook I have here, no one else can see this, but I'll show you on the camera. It's all crossed out, and it just has a big no. And I crossed it out to the point where you couldn't act. I put X's over the letter, so there's
Couldn't
no
make
way.
it out.
There's no way to
even you didn't want even the future self to know about your thoughts during that part.
No, and I'm curious as to what it was now, because it was something that I really hated. I looked back and said, "You idiot, you moron. How could you even put that in writing?"
Wow. You don't remember doing it?
No,
How old is this?
Here's the thing with this book. It doesn't seem that long ago, but there's one in here that says, "I'm a 28-year-old man living in an apartment with a mini fridge. Why is this okay? What kind of city is this? This is not okay, yet it is."
Ooh.
So that's at 28, and at this point, that's 9 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Are you in New York then?
Yeah, I've been in New York going on 12 years already. So going back to some of these notes, I'm 27. But by the time I crossed it out, I'm sure I was 29. I'm sure it was a week later. Who knows what it was?
Right.
I looked back and said, no way am I going to do this. And there's weird things in this notebook, too. Oh, look at this. Someone wrote me a poem on a napkin.
What's it say?
I know who wrote this. It was the same girl's brush I had that got stolen.
Oh, no.
That Jessie.
Not the brush.
Life is Beautiful, which is a movie that I like. It is also these things. Magical, makes sense, makes no sense, and has good coffee and wine. Okay, that's it. I don't know if that's a poem. I don't know what this was.
That is weird. That is disjointed.
I probably should have ditched her at that point. I waited 3 months. I also, for some reason, have some this is so not like me. Why are these in here? Fortunes from Fortune cookies.
Oh, wow. How basic bitch of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't. This is...
What do they say?
Goodness is its own reward. What did I find in that? Why is this around? One thought driven home is better than 3 left on base. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that in itself is embarrassing that I've got some fortunes locked up in a book.
It does kind of match that poem or whatever that limerick was that she wrote on the napkin.
It must have, maybe we got Chinese food together and it's something that, I become sentimental about many things.
Right.
So maybe it wasn't the message itself. So
it was just the fortune.
So going
and the
into
memory
this,
of Chinese food. Here's
one. I'm using you. You're part of my experiment. I'm working to see if I'm capable of spilling my all to another individual. And in my mind, I think it was an idea of being in a relationship and being honest about what the relationship was. It's like, nah, I'm not really into you. This is an experiment. I want to see if I'm capable of this.
Yeah.
And, God. This is tough to do live. I should have curated these because there are some... I should just jump in, and whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's embarrassing, Autumn. This could be...
Please, did you hear what I read from my journal? That was ridiculous.
Yeah, you're 12 at that point.
Yeah.
If there's some angsty stuff here from my late 20s.
Okay.
This is on the same theme. It's not that we have nothing to say to each other or don't share any common interests. We don't speak because I have nothing to say. I become so focused on certain aspects of my life that everything else around me may as well cease to exist. I pay absolutely no attention to it. This leads to a very few topics I'm well versed in at any given time. We're just not hitting on one of those topics right now.
So you're trying to
They're false conversations with people, probably why relationships are falling apart.
Right. And why aren't we talking?
But I have a big thing in relationships where at first it's all new, right? So you share yourself with the person and they're somewhat interested, and then it's done. It's like, I'm done. I told you everything. I don't want to repeat the same things over and over. It's like, nothing left. What else can I tell you? I've told you everything.
That's interesting. That's from Our Town. Have you ever seen Our Town?
I have not.
It's an older married couple, and she talks about how when she was real young, and it was this old time, getting together where they didn't know each other very well, and she was worried that they would run out of stuff to talk about because she didn't understand that, like, in a relationship, you just talk about as it's going, like as time progresses, you continue to talk. It's not just only talking from starting at this one point and never moving from that point. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I have a big concern and really an aversion of just talking about nothing. Just having those conversations of no substance.
I hate that.
But that's what most conversations are.
It's a nice day. Oh, it is a nice day. I didn't think it'd be so warm. Me either. Is it going to stay this way? I think so. Bye.
But even within a relationship, you have to have conversations about your day. It doesn't have to be as fake as that, but
that's not fake. That's like I feel like that's how I talk to the neighbors.
Yeah, it's hard for me to reconcile.
Because there's nothing else to talk about. Or in an elevator.
It is hard for me to reconcile that. That is actually what conversations probably become with most people. And I don't like it, so I'd rather just not say anything at all.
I see.
And, I don't know if it's actually ever been a problem. Here's another one. I'm just testing out this pen in an effort to find out if it's as amazing as the claims say it is. My first impression is yes.
That sounds lonely.
People sure do like shiny objects. Saline nasal spray is not a substitute for contact solution. That was a mistake.
Just for reference?
That was a mistake I made once. I think I was spending the night somewhere, and I was wearing contacts at the time, and I didn't have any contact solution, and there was saline nasal spray in the medicine cabinet, and I said to myself, the contact solution's saline, right? There's not a difference. Oh, there's a difference. That next morning, I put this contacts in, and my eyes burned for hours. I ripped them out immediately, but they burned for hours. So I learned the hard way.
Oh, God.
Not a substitute.
Okay, noted. If you don't like this episode, you just learned something.
Yeah, see?
You're welcome.
It's informative.
That's right. So a lot of my old stuff not the old, more recent old stuff is probably from I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, where I'm writing down a lot of my, I think early on, I guess in my journal, it really is like what you're doing, right? Where you're recording your thoughts. And as I got, I don't know, as I got older, I was writing down things that I needed to do and things I needed to understand, like credits for classes and how many credits I would need each year to graduate. I have a ton of pages of Spanish notes in here of present indicative, present progressive, the preterite, irregulados.
So those are just notes from class.
But they're not even from class. I think that I was just practicing and I needed something to write on and I didn't want to use my Spanish notebook or something. I have, register for class, figure out which to take, put away the dishes, look into money, like vodka sauce, hummus, 1 hour of Spanish, buy healthy trim. What the buying diet stuff. I'm comparing when to take classes.
Was there a point in writing that down? And it's serving a function, so I get that. But going back to the one show, how you act when you're alone, was there a part of you that liked the idea of someone else seeing you with a notebook with all these notes who would then think to themselves, oh, interesting. What's she got going on?
Taking notes in public, 100%. Look at me with a notebook.
Wow, you did it for show. You're one of those people.
No, I'm not doing it for... See, that's the thing. I bring the notebook and I write things down in the notebook because I need to write things down.
All right.
I'm definitely enjoying people looking at me like, what is she writing down? She's writing things down.
Yeah, there's a distinction there. I'll give you that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I was thinking the person...
It's even with a book. Don't you feel that way if you're in public with a book? You're like, I'm reading a book. Look at me.
Oh, I overthink reading in public because it happens quite often in New York if you're on the train.
Yeah.
But people will read books almost perpendicular to the ground, which to me makes it seem like they want everyone else to see the book that they're reading. So I make a real effort to hide the book. I don't want anyone to see it. This is stupid. This is complete overthinking on my part. There's no reason. Just read the book, and who cares one way or the other. But I see the person trying to show off the fact that they're reading. Yeah, look at me reading the book. You curious about what I'm reading? I'm reading something interesting. I'm an interesting person. You want to know me. I was like, can't be that person. God forbid. And hide what I'm reading. Yeah. Which is...
See, I wouldn't... even though I do feel like there is a show and I am the star, in a way, I wouldn't hold up my book so that people could see. But I would still like the idea of what I must look like reading a book.
Because it relays a lot of information.
It does.
Who's the kind of person who reads a book in public?
Right.
Wow. So here's here, I'll throw a couple more out. It's desirable for humans to be full of seeds. Fruit, on the other hand, not so much, unless you're the one responsible for growing the fruit. It's a stupid thing. A comparison, like humans being full of seeds. If you're looking for someone to mate with, it's like, that guy's got a lot of seeds. He's good. But if you get a fruit that's got a lot of seeds, you don't want anything to do with that fruit, even though it's stupid. That's what I'm saying. Don't think too deeply.
No, okay, that's stupid, but I like the way that your brain thought of that. That's real weird.
Some people have laughs that can't be differentiated from the sound of someone choking on gum. That must have just been a person I came across who I couldn't stand. How to kill your relationship. There's a lot of this stuff in there. Be stubborn. Be contrary. Stop making decisions. Misguided self-pride. Taking your insecurities out on the other person. Just basic stuff.
Is that stuff that you were trying to remind yourself to do so that you could get out of a relationship?
Who knows at that point. I think it was more self-help. I was like, what are you doing? Why are you being such an idiot? So if you've got something that's not, your laundry detergent shopping list.
Yeah, a lot of that is here. I did write a lot of stuff down in my phone. Let me see if there's anything. I wrote a lot of things down in my phone that I wanted to remember, because I think I was afraid to put it in a notebook and it get thrown away. So, I have these ideas that are going to keep going, and then they just don't. So, like, Ellie for a while was describing her poop. Every time she pooped, she was saying it looked like something. And so I started writing those down, but she only did it one more time and then has never done it since. So the only one, it's the title of the note is called Ellie's Poop. And the only thing written is 3 French fries in a McDonald's container.
Is this the beginnings of an art project?
Yeah.
Which actually you could turn into an art project. You could take all the different things that Ellie's poop looked like and make models of them out of poop. Fake poop, hopefully. Not the actual poop. So that one was, again, French fries.
3 French fries in a McDonald's container.
This could actually go somewhere for you, become an artist.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting art project.
Right. What's the theme? It's Ellie's poop.
Yeah. My daughter's poop looks like certain objects.
Right.
And now here they are presented for you. Yeah, people apply their own meaning at that point.
Sure.
It's like, oh, it's so deep. And here's, you don't even need to go that.
I think it symbolizes, how people feel alone in society.
Yes. They're so alone that they look at their poop. It's like someone who would look at the clouds previously. And they'd find shapes in the clouds, but we've deteriorated to the point where people are staring into the toilet. It's a real commentary on our society and where we currently stand as a species.
So there's another one here. It just is called British AF, like British as fuck. So I think I wrote down some things when we were in England that I heard people say.
Oh, your recent trip, the one you just went on.
Yeah, this was on August 4th, 2018 at 9:25 a.m. It says, those ladies have had her.
That's it?
It's nice walking down the river this time of year. Aye, it is.
So it's normal things people say to one another, but you like the accent.
I like the accent, and I would never say those ladies have had her, right? Like, those ladies have had her, right? No. That's a very British way of describing something.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, I it is.
So you were just no idea or thought to do something with this in the future. I'm just curious why you wrote it down. It's because you liked it. It was amusing.
I just liked it. I just wanted to remember that there was things that were happening around me and how British they were.
Which I think is a good way to do this. People take the photos constantly.
Yeah.
Now, you make little notes for yourself.
I don't take a lot of pictures, and it all stems from the first time I saw, I think I've only seen it once, the Phantom of the Opera with my parents. I took I looked through binoculars almost through the entire play. And then when I got home, I had trouble remembering it. And my Aunt Eileen said maybe it's because you were looking through the binoculars, and so you weren't like immersed in the show. You were only sort of looking closely at things instead of taking it all in as a whole. And I felt like that's the same thing you do with a camera, especially like at concerts where people are like taking videos or pictures of, like you're missing it, know? And so a lot of times when we're doing things, I don't have pictures of our lives because I don't want to take a picture because it'll take me out of the moment. But then I don't remember it. So I guess I take notes on it instead.
No, I think it's a better way to do it. It can trigger the memory at that point instead of just replacing the memory, which a photo tends to do.
Yeah.
You just look at the photo and, oh yeah, and you don't need to store it as much in your brain at that point. I like this. There's more imagination involved. So you look back onto the time you heard these people talking in England.
Those ladies of Ada. I wrote down that our flight was delayed because of a baggage malfunction. They were keeping us updated on it and said that we were lucky because the other airlines were getting back later than us, so we should be leaving soon. Then they made an announcement that there were 2 birthdays on board. One older woman and another who was 5 years old. She asked for us to clap and cheer for them. I wonder if that's a tactic to keep us all happy and united together. Like there really isn't a birthday, but they're having some issue that's making us not be able to leave. So like, everybody, there's a birthday. We're all together. Yay!
Yeah, so there's something in that circumstance that made it noteworthy to you. The fact that there's a problem. Okay, so the problem with the baggage.
Yeah, I guess so. I think loading it onto the plane, like we were sitting on the plane and we weren't taxiing for some reason. And they were saying it's because the luggage thing getting up to the airplane, the cargo or whatever, was broken. Something was wrong.
So, and then they tried to tell you were lucky. It's like, if you want to complain, you better realize that you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then I assume at this point you're feeling frustrated by it.
Well, I was fine. Like I can go with the flow. It's fine.
Because I do like the idea of just fake birthdays.
Yes, I feel like waiters do that kind of thing all the time,
People are sitting there. They're angry in the plane because you're not taxiing yet. And then like, oh, it's a birthday.
You're like, oh, that's nice. Yay.
Yeah,
and then we all feel united instead of start eating each other,
I think that kind of ties into that note I read off just quickly. People sure do like shiny objects. Not that this is necessarily a shiny object, but so easily distracted. You take someone...
I don't know if this is everywhere, but 2 of the post offices I've been in here are also a small convenience store. What a great idea. Instead of raising the postage price every 6 months.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
So they take
Make
all the
money
proceeds.
For your post.
They take the proceeds and the snacks, correct? Mm-hmm. And they put it towards the Royal
It was
Mail.
it was like, this is a post. It had like the post office. It said it. And you walked in and it felt like a convenience store, like a gas station. And there was the post office way in the back in like a little window. It was mostly convenience store.
So you should step in and you should save the USPS.
I got great ideas.
It's a very simple idea.
In my notes. It's right here.
Well, that's why you write the notes down, because you recognize things in life that you find interesting.
I wrote down, when we were at David Byrne, and I wrote down the stuff that those women were screaming behind us.
Oh, is that the note, though? Just women screaming behind us? Because
the first one is tucking sick because she said fucking sick. Fucking sick! That's what she said.
Yeah. Those...
So Greg and I were together with, who was next to us? Oh, it was Nick and it was Eric's son and his girlfriend.
No, his girlfriend. It was Ian, who wasn't feeling well.
Oh, it was Ian.
He was feeling sick, and it was Eric's friend.
My bad. Yeah. So, sorry. I made a bad memory.
The point is, we were at that David Byrne show, and the people behind us just yelling nonstop. And then the guy in front of us getting very angry and yelling, "Shut up!" And then his wife becoming embarrassed that the guy's yelling at the other people. We were just stuck in the crossfire. Crossfire. You'll get caught up in the crossfire.
So I wrote down fucking sick. I wrote down, if he plays burning down the house, I'm going to lose my fucking shit.
Which he did play.
Yep. She was like, oh my God. And then, in this particular production, it's a really sort of interesting looking thing. They have these people and they're walking around. They have strange choreography. And at one point she said, are those dead cats?
It was so annoying. It
was horrible.
I was in a good spot that night mentally. I didn't let her take me out.
Yeah, me either.
I was looking for these notes. See, this comes up, and this is I was sitting in the park at one night listening to a woman on a phone call, and it was just, I wish I could find it.
Oh, that's exciting. I love that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing where I think I'll remember this forever because it's so weird, and then I never do.
No, okay, here it is. I found it. April 22nd, 2016. This is just snapshots of this conversation I was listening in on.
Okay.
I was listening to her talk, but she wasn't listening to me talk. I stood on my bed so I was taller than her, looking intimidating, but didn't really need to because she's already a midget. I don't know who she's talking to.
Whoa.
But just ranting and raving. Calm down. You need a Xanax. I wanted to shoot her in the face. We're not friends. You're craving it, but I'm never going to give it. Like, oh my God, God. Jen said you should buy a papushi, but you never did. I paid for it. What the hell's a papushi? I don't even know if this is what I heard, and I spelled it Papooshi. I don't know what a papushi is. There's more to it. Okay. So let's do a pickup here with Jen said you should buy a papushi, but you never did. I paid for it. If you want the money for the papushi, I'll give you the money for the papushi. I don't talk shit about you, Steph, to anyone. I don't give a shit about you. As she continued to talk shit about Steph. So that was a conversation that I listened in on. Yeah, people, you realize that people, awful. They say nothing at all. And they just run their mouths. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, my biggest fear. There was another one here. It was July 3rd, 2013. One time Josh washed all my sweatpants without me knowing and then dropped them off to me all folded. And I was like, thanks. This is how people conduct their lives. There was needed. A phone call was needed to express that.
And I was like, thanks.
It was a long, drawn-out thanks.
Thanks.
I've got something I can share. This was March 25th, Autumn, 2 years ago. So again, we're recording the show on March 25th. This was March 25th, 2017. Have you ever banged yourself over the head with a pan? No reason I did it. Just got up from the couch and felt like I deserved it. There's a lot of dark notes around that.
Did you really do that?
Yeah, around 2 years ago. For some reason, this is 2 a.m. I wrote that. I fell asleep on the couch, and I think I felt like I should have been doing something with my night, and then I got up, and I hated myself, and there was a pan sitting on the burner, the oven. It wasn't turned on, but it was just sitting there. And yeah, I hit myself over the head with it. There's a sickness.
Wow.
You still want to be my friend? Here's one. Tomorrow he was going to change his life. He meant it this time. The next day he ate ice cream and looked at naked ladies on the internet.
Oh, man.
You feeling bad for me?
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Oh, sure. I know you're going to get to something. Let's just run through this depressing part here now.
Yeah, go ahead.
This can be the depressing section of the show.
Sure.
That way you can...
I'll read my depressing poetry from when I was 12.
Yeah, when you were 12. And me 2 years ago. It was just a bad part of my life. I don't know. I wasn't feeling good about myself.
Drugs?
2017? No. It was a little bit before.
It's weird going through my notebook that has my depressing thoughts and ideas,
Yeah.
and how it starts out, I'm 12, right? And then it really is just for a year. It's not even a full year. It starts in March, and then the last entry is in November. And I'm on the bus to Jekyll Island. And I'm sitting with Justin and Jason watching, and Jason's watching me write this. We're watching Three Musketeers. They keep showing all the girls' boobs. The movie would be a lot more interesting under different circumstances. I didn't think the trip down would be this boring. Right now we're in Macon. But that cool guy, Tim Curry's in it, the movie. I think he's really cool. He's really mean in the movie, though.
Wait, this is your depressing time?
No, it's not. I think it gets real. It's like I got super depressed and weird. Like I was crying in the notebook and it was like blurring the lines in the page so that I would remember, like, this is my liquid sadness. And then I'm just like, maybe my hormones have leveled out a bit by the end. And I'm like, Tim Curry's cool.
I like that you worked your way out of that. You worked through it.
I guess
in a short amount of time.
Oh, and it gets real sexy too. Like I'm real. In school, when John and I would hug, he will go down for my butt, but don't worry, I like it.
I don't know if we need to break that one apart. Anything you'd like to share in regards to that note?
The other day in math, he was rubbing my leg, but the whole time, all I could think about is whether I shaved my legs well enough. Isn't that goofy? But tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm shaving especially well. Oh, by the way, I forgot to write the Beatles. Still really obsessed with the Beatles.
Well, you're focusing on your shaving habits. And then, you got to get to the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's some of these. This was... I brought this up some. I don't know. I think once I talked about a note. All he wanted was to share the beauty he saw in the world with another person. He couldn't find anyone. That's a bit angsty.
Yeah.
I can't be happy because, quite frankly, I'm disgusted to be human. Not for the traditional reasons, selfishness, general stupidity, but because we're just animals, which means I'm one too. My brain wants to figure itself out, not to be clever, but to be disappointed and defeated, completely let down by how uninspiring and accidental it all really is. This I brought up before on this show. I think coping mechanisms. I'm just waiting to die. From the moment I learned of death, it instilled such fear that I've been frozen ever since. Life is only romantic from afar. I think that was this idea you can watch and make a lot of even mundane situations romantic, but when you're in the middle of them, it's like, this is pretty...
And like hindsight kind of thing?
I don't want to be an old man with stories of better days gone by, so I just make sure I don't have any better days. Hey, there's some logic there, right?
Yes.
I'm just setting up my life so that I'll never actually get old. I'd prefer my kid to deal with my death of natural causes at 8 years old than for me to have blown my load at 50 getting... I don't know what this one means.
Continue. What does it say?
It doesn't make any sense. I'm just setting up my life so that I'll never actually get old. I'd prefer my kid to deal with my death of natural causes at 8 years old than for me to... When the
kid is 8.
Yeah. Getting to wait 30... I don't understand what
It's when the kid is 8, then getting to wait 30 years when they're 38.
Yeah, let's move on from that one. Okay. Here's a story.
Do you want to scratch out no in this part of the podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
you idiot.
That would be one. That would be, what the? No. A story about a guy who dies, but his neighbors can't say anything about him because they never spoke over 20 years. There you go. That was... it wasn't all so depressing. Sometimes I find humor in these things. I write the notes down, and I think that I could shape them into stories that on the surface are somewhat depressing, but inside they're sweet stories. I think that's the goal with a lot of this stuff. And then there's things here. We preserved their love, fostered it in the only way it could exist. It wasn't to be romantic. Maybe this is about us. Not then. It wouldn't have worked. It would have been a slow, painful death. This is how it survived, by existing exactly as it does between us right now. I love you, and I can confidently say I always will. that couldn't have been if we went a different route. It applies to us.
Sure. Aw.
So, it's not all the most deep, dark, depressing stuff. And then I have my art project, and then I'll let you get back to yours.
Okay.
I wrote a list of possible photo projects. I don't know how these were presented in photos, but I had this period. It's like, I'm going to start doing photography. Times I'm embarrassed to be human. Trying hard to fit in. Trying hard not to fit in. Trying hard to fit in while trying hard to appear as if you don't care if you fit in. Assigning meaning, even when none is needed. Habits and or routine. Sad people eating ice cream.
Wow.
That'd be a good photo project. Sad people eating ice cream.
Yes.
Just have to find the sad subjects. So that's it. I mean, on my end, there's a little glimpse into the secrets of my notebook. It's not also depressing. I like pointing out the depressing stuff because anyone listening, it really isn't angsty to me when I write it. It's more matter of fact.
Right.
I'm not sitting around feeling sorry for myself. It's as I stated, these are ideas, and I think there's actually humor in these ideas, and it expresses the state of the world for a lot of people. And if you can exploit that somehow, but also inject some kind of hope, that's what I would like to do with a lot of these notes, is to actually flesh them out and write, some kind of stories with them. But I never do.
Interesting. So my notes are more like trying to remember things. I'm not really trying to get anything out of my head on paper because I'm feeling some way or I'm observing something. It's more about I want to remember something.
Yeah, which, as I said before, I think is a good way of remembering things.
Yeah.
Especially with all the technology we have around us, and people are just snapping photos constantly or taking videos. I like the idea of writing a little note, which then jogs your memory, and you remember whatever happened. Maybe not necessarily for what it was, because we do have an ability in our brains to modify our memories, but that's part of it. It's like, so then it triggers whatever your memory of that is. See, that's romantic to me. From afar, that's romantic.
So some of the things that I write down to help me remember sort of take away some of that romanticism, because it puts me back in that moment and I get to remember what really happened. Or even not just the romanticization of something. It's more like the not hindsight is 2020. It's the rose-colored glasses. Like, right, you can look in the past with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a note that I wrote. I told Ellie while crying a little bit after leaving our apartment, the worst apartment, the apartment that we hated, in Laurel, that we moved out of in a hurry. For the last time, that she made my life and time in the apartment very special. It all came from the apartment, and I don't know. Like I said, I hated it for so long. But then Ellie was telling me that she was sad because she was going to leave her room and her bathroom and the tub and the porch. And it reminded me of her experience in the apartment.
Yeah, which is a sweet thing, because, I mean, it's obvious, but as a kid, you're not thinking about all the crap that went into making that apartment a bad place, because the apartment itself wasn't the bad place.
Right.
It was the experiences with the neighbor was the main thing, right?
Yes, the neighbor was mean to us.
I don't know if the location for you was any good.
No, the location sucked, but for Ellie, she loved the porch and she loved her tub and her room.
Yeah, it was a place. It was a place for her where she lived with people that she cared about.
So that made me really sad that I was taking that from her, But it's kind of nice in the same way, because she had a whole different sort of view of that place versus what I had.
Yeah, so it can change your perspective on it a bit. And, from what you told me about that apartment, you should have moved. And I'm glad you got out of there, because you're much happier at the place where you live now.
Yeah.
But, you see something, again, through a child's eyes. This comes up quite a bit with people. But yes, there's something about the innocence of the way a child sees something. But also, it hits you as a sweet memory, maybe as a cherry on top of that awful existence there. And now you have it written down, and you can look back on it and think nice thoughts.
I also have My funeral music. Do you ever write down music that you want to be played at your funeral?
No. For as much as I think about death, no, I surprisingly have not made a playlist for my funeral. What do you have?
My Life by the Beatles.
Maybe Yoko will show up.
Yeah, maybe I should tell her. You know what? Now she won't because she never got presents for her birthday.
No, she's angry with you. You promised presents and you never
Yeah.
delivered.
Give Me Love by George Harrison. I was starting to write down a bunch more, but then I stopped because this is really weird thinking. A lot of the music I was choosing and thinking of putting in my funeral playlist was stuff that I wanted, that I knew that Eric would like. I kept thinking like, yeah, Eric would be really into that. Eric ain't gonna be at my funeral, you guys.
Well, let's hope he's not at your funeral. I mean, it'd be sad.
So that was like a dark thought where I was like, I wanted to impress Eric at my funeral.
It's still interesting that, okay, yes, the age difference aside, that he should die before you. So if he's there, something went wrong with your life, and that's sad. But you would make a playlist to impress him.
I don't know. Maybe that has to do with me feeling like I'm still being seen.
Not even a playlist.
Even in death, I'm still seen.
So how does the playlist play out, and how long is it? Does it go on for 30 minutes, and so people file in, and the casket's up front? And
I won't be in a casket.
What, are you going to be cremated?
Nope.
What, on display?
On display, I'm gonna have a natural birth. I'm gonna have a natural burial. I'm just gonna be like laid out, maybe like a shroud over me.
Okay.
Flowers.
So how's the music factor into this?
There are places I remember. It's just in the background, just playing. It's nice. There's food.
So you're already in the pit with the shroud
No,
on.
I'm just out in the house or something.
Oh.
In a shroud. People are coming to see me say goodbye, and then I'll be buried in the garden, like in one of those garden cemetery things.
Okay. Then, so the music is something that's
It's
needed.
playing. It's the theme of the. Yeah, it's just playing in the background. Like you have music, dinner party music. I'm gonna have my funeral music.
People file in, and
Yeah.
they see your body there on display, and
And if they listen,
soundtrack's
they'll be
playing.
like the Jurassic Park theme song.
Is that actually part of it?
No, but maybe I should put some funny stuff in there. It's very sweet. I had that in our wedding. We made the accompanist learn just the piano version for Jurassic Park theme song. It's very beautiful.
That part of it? Or
Yeah.
or the other part. Dun, 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 dun,
No, not that one.
dun, dun, dun,
No,
dun.
blah 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 blah. Da-da. So I wanted people sitting in the church, just milling around, talking, looking at the book, or what is that book thing you get? The it has like the list of things that's going to happen, the program,
Yes.
and they're thinking, oh, audience, a wedding, it's nice. Well, what time is it? Whatever, and then like, what's that? What's that music? Is that Jurassic Park?
I like that idea. Did it get the reaction you wanted? I know you're hiding at that point, but did you get word?
I don't know. I'm not there to. I can only hope. And you know what? I won't be there at my funeral either. So I hope people will notice.
The Jurassic Park theme is playing at Autumn's funeral. It's a nice way to go. I guess my mind can really get into this death thing, huh? But when I die, a cremation I think is the way to go. And then people can do whatever they want. It's like, you want to have a memorial, we can. Just do it whenever. If you want to wait 3 years, that's fine.
Wow. What, to like do something with your ashes or something?
Yeah, no rush. I don't want to impose on people after I die.
Sure.
It's like, hey, you've got lives going on. And yeah, I'm dead. Get me cremated. And then when you have some time, get some people together and go do the thing.
You need to write that down in a notebook so you don't forget. Yeah.
But if people did find this, though, as I've explained it, I explained it well. It's not as depressing as it may seem.
No, but it is, especially when I think it's back to back, right? You're looking at one note and then the next and then the next and then the next. And it is like from a madman.
Well, there was a period there where I didn't like myself much.
Yeah.
And then I made, if you want the best note, we can close it off with the note on a whole different notebook. Let me walk over here.
Okay.
And get it. It's actually more of a journal. It's only got one thing written in it. This can be, the future, but this is going to sound probably cheesy. I don't know. I should be embarrassed to share it. The only thing I have written in it is I forgive you. And it was like directed at myself. And that went a long way.
Wow.
I know that sounds stupid, but like writing that, because like, why am I being so hard on myself? It's like, why am I just constantly beating myself up? It doesn't serve any purpose, and nothing good comes from it. And there was a point, it's like, stop. And then I wrote, I forgive you. And
there's nothing else. It's got pages and pages and pages of blankness.
nothing yet, but the idea is now new ideas will go into that one.
Uh-huh.
And some of them will probably still be dark and fucked up, but that's okay.
Yeah. Not
Well-
as self-deprecating, maybe?
And self-deprecation
Or
is okay too.
self-loathing.
Yeah, it's just not getting stuck in it. Moments of
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not getting stuck in it. So there you go.
It's weird. Maybe I think I don't write stuff down like that because I don't feel like they're as important. Like I understand that I have those thoughts, but that they go away and they don't have as much weight, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe they have too much weight for me. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
putting too much weight into these thoughts. But we can end it on that because that's
Yeah.
it's looking up. A little positive note there.
Greg,
Yes.
I forgive you.
Well, you don't need to forgive me. I didn't do anything to you. I forgive
just wanted to
myself
say it.
for whatever the things.
I
Autumn.
forgive you.
Well, thank you.
I forgive you.
And that is this week's episode of One Topic. Thanks for listening. Rate, review us on iTunes and the other ones. And wherever Autumn can be found, she'll tell you now.
You can find me everywhere online at AutoPritz, Pritts. I was reading through some of the reviews on iTunes, and they were really cool. So we really appreciate everybody who reviews and has something fun to say and why you like the show, and we're really glad. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Keep saying nice things. Don't say anything bad, please.
Yeah.
Because then I'll go
Yeah.
back to that dark place and have to put more notes in my notebook.
You'll
That
have to rip up that page that says I forgive you.
oh yeah, that one's it'll come out and I'll burn it.
Yep.
So that would be on you.
Maybe could you take a picture of something that you wrote down? Hold on. Hold on, Greg.
Go.
I just wrote it down. I don't know what notebook I'm in anymore.
There's
I
too
got
many
all these
notebooks.
Where's the one for today? Oh, get Greg to take pics of journal to put on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll take some pictures.
Yeah, and then we could post it with when this episode airs so that people can go to our Facebook page and look at some of the stuff. And I'll post mine too.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll get some of those.
Okay, good. Old journal.
What am I looking at? Old
It's-
journal.
Old journal from 1995.
1995. Old journal from 1995. Old journal. You think that's a hit?
Old journal from 1985.
85.
95. Old journal.